Main stimulus comes with an assortment of amendments, including a one-time $90 bill credit for low-income customers of Central Maine, $800 in heating cost relief to nearly 13,000 low-income households to cover energy costs, and $1,400 in tax relief for eligible low- and middle-income families and seniors. The governor announced this week that $200 million in household relief is on its way to over 500,000 New Mexico taxpayers. Taxpayers who receive funds through direct deposit are scheduled to receive at least $250 in relief in the next day. Now, these rebates will soon be issued out. Folks, do you think that President Biden will do more for the American people this year with stimulus checks, or do you think that he's holding it back? Tell me what you think in the comments below. More than 90,000 Connecticut households filed for the state's new child tax credit rebate in the program's first week. The Democratic representative announced this week that the applications from 90,000 households would benefit around 140,000 children from low and moderate income families. And the Republicans say that a new coalition of nonprofit service providers will help providers and households navigate the application process, which remains open through July 31st. State officials estimate roughly 350,000 Connecticut households are eligible to receive the $250 per child rebate, which the Department of Revenue Services is expected to send out in August. The maximum payment is $750 per household, and representatives said it will be a huge victory if 2/3 of those 350,000 households receive the rebate. It is available to single parents who earn less than $100,000 in 2021 and to two-parent families that earn less than $200,000. The full legislature and the governor settled this spring on a one-time child tax credit payment for $250 per child, up to a maximum of $750 per household. But the governor said that he would prioritize converting the rebate into an ongoing credit during the regular 2023 General Assembly session. Republicans have said that Lamont and his fellow Democrats in the legislature's majority are using the rebates as a political stunt to boost their campaigns, but Democrats counter that the rebates are providing needed relief when families are struggling with high gas prices and surging inflation. The governor signed a tax cut package into law that will send $1,000 for every child 5 and under to Vermont households, making $125,000 or less, with federal stimulus funding flooding the state's economy and boosting tax receipts. The Democrat-controlled legislature and the Republican governor agreed on something they're usually at odds over. Still, the party spent months of negotiating between competing visions, and a final compromise was not inked until the last day of the legislative session early this month. There was another blow delivered to the Biden administration with the release of a poor inflation report that showed consumer price growth spiked in May. The Labor Department's Consumer Price Index rose 1% last month alone and 8.6% in the 12-month stretch ending in May. But Biden on Friday stressed that he is sympathetic to the impact of high inflation on families. During a press conference, Biden stated, "I understand Americans are anxious, and they're anxious for a good reason. Inflation is a real challenge to American families."
Please, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Zippy, and I want to acknowledge Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg is here today and knows a little bit about moving things, and as well as a dozen members of Congress that are here, and both Democrat and Republican. That's the good news. A few months ago, my State of the Union address, as part of my plan to lower costs for Americans, I promised to crack down on ocean carriers whose price hikes have hurt American families and American businesses. And today I'm proud to say that we've got that done on a bipartisan basis, and you did it quickly, folks. In just a few minutes, I'm going to be signing the Ocean Shipping Reform Act of 2022 to put a stop to shipping companies taking advantage of American families, farmers, ranchers, and businesses, and to bring down prices and give the American people a little bit of breathing room, just a little bit more breathing room. You want to know why prices are so high? Well, there are a number of reasons having to do with Putin's war in Ukraine, disruption caused by the pandemic. But one of the factors affecting prices is this: 9 major shipping companies consolidated into 3 alliances control the vast majority of ocean shipping in the world. And each of these 9 is foreign owned. During the pandemic, these carriers increased their prices by as much as 1,000%. 1,000%. While families and businesses struggled around the world, these carriers made $190 billion in profit in 2021, 7 times higher than the year before. 7 times higher than the year before. And they raked in the profits. And the costs got passed on, as you might guess, directly to consumers, sticking it to American families and businesses because they could. Furniture, appliances, clothing, anything and everything that crossed the Pacific on a ship from Asia saw a price tag shoot up, and families and businesses felt the squeeze here at home. In addition, these foreign-owned carriers have also been refusing to carry American-made products back to Asia. That's the interesting part. That's where Zippy comes in. There's the Farm Bureau and others. It hurts the entire economy, but it especially hurts our farmers who depend on ocean shipping to sell their products to customers overseas. You know, I knew that we needed to take action right away, put a stop to these dramatic price hikes, and end this unfair treatment. I spoke directly with the CEOs, and not just the two that are here today, but from the American Farm Bureau to find out how it affected them and their customers. And I spoke to the CEO of Joann Stores. Wade is here. Wade, stand up so everybody sees you here. Wade McCollum. And by the way, my sympathies to the family of your CFO, who dropped dead very unexpectedly. My best to their family. It's tough stuff. But you know what he told me? He told me his shipping costs rose by $100 million, more than the company's entire profit margin that year, by $100 million. I spoke to the CEO of Tractor Supply, Hal Lawton. Hal told me that his company went from paying $35 per shipping container to $20,000 or $25,000 per shipping container. I spoke to Zippy, president of the American Farm Bureau. He shared with me the impact it was having on farmers across the country, so many of whom on markets overseas to sell their crop, rely on markets overseas to sell their products. Hal wasn't able to be with us today, but Wade and Zippy are here today because I wanted them standing right beside me when I signed this legislation into law. What this bill does is extend the authority, something the what the federal government calls the Federal Maritime Commission, which a lot of people don't know exists, but it's important, which requires our which regulates our ocean transportation system, allowing them to crack down on these excessive fees and prohibiting ocean carriers from refusing to carry U.S. exports. In short, it's going to help begin to lower shipping costs, bring down prices on everything from goods to goods to products that the American families need, that they make to export as well as import, and ensure that American farmers, ranchers, and other exporters are treated fairly. And I want to thank the bipartisan members of Congress who came together to get this done, especially Senator Amy Klobuchar, a Democrat from Minnesota, John Thune, a Republican from South Dakota, Maria Cantwell, a Democrat from Washington State, John Garamendi, a Democrat from California, Congressman from California, Congressman Dusty Johnson, Republican from